I'm going to tell you something that happened to me this couple days ago, and it's to show how bad our health care is getting in the United States. I was visiting a friend, and he said he didn't feel well, and his skin looked dusky, grayish. He didn't look well. And so I told him to take his blood pressure, and he did, and his blood pressure was very low. So I said, well, take it again, and his blood pressure was even lower. It was very low. And I thought he might be having a heart attack. So I told him to get down on the ground, and I thought, okay, I'll call an ambulance, but he didn't want an ambulance to come because they charge a minimum of $6,000 if they just come to your door. Not if they do anything. That's just coming to your door and looking at you and writing a note. That's 6,000. So he said, no, put me in the car and we'll drive over to the hospital. So I drove him to the hospital and got out of the car and tried to find a wheelchair. There was none out or in the waiting room for the patients. So I asked the lady, and she said somebody would come get a wheelchair for him. So I waited a few minutes and no one was there. And I said, this guy I think is having a heart attack. And she said, well, somebody's coming. And so later somebody came and they put him in a wheelchair. So I parked the car and I came in, and I expected him to be on a monitor to check out to see whether or not he was having a heart attack. And when I came back into the hospital, I was surprised to find that they had taken him, put him in the wheelchair, taken him over to the admittance room, which was a little cubby. And he was sitting there with no one with him. He was just sitting there telling them his name, his address, showing him his insurance. I watched the girl Xerox his insurance card. Of course, the Xerox machine had some problems, so she had to open it up and fix the Xerox machine. And he's sitting there, and I'm thinking, I brought him here because I thought he was having a heart attack. So I demand that he gets in to be seen. They get really mad at me and say I'm abusing them. They don't think they're at all abusing him, that he's there for a potential heart attack, and they're ignoring him. And but they feel bad because I'm abusing them, as they say. So then he finally gets in there, and they sit him in a chair, and nobody's watching him. They come over and ask him a couple questions. And after, at the bottom of a long list of questions, she says, have you ever had a heart problem? And I said, well, that's why we're here. I said, I'm wondering whether or not he had a heart attack. I've already told them the story, like 5 times, and they still don't understand. So eventually he gets in and he gets on a monitor, and his blood pressure is still low. And then you do some tests, and like 4 hours later they get the results back and says, well, it doesn't look like he had a heart attack. And so luckily everything was fine. But if this had been a real heart attack or a real emergency situation, even though we went to the emergency room, he would have been dead. There was no way in the world a person who was that as sick as he could have been would have made it through this pitiful hospital procedure. So our hospital care, our medical care is really bad. And this person had very good insurance, and he got terrible care. And I have another story to tell you, and I'll tell you that on another video.